Welcome to the Beautiful Game Football Archives, and we are underway with simulation number 3. Just to quickly recap the previous simulation results. France were crowned world champions, England runners-up once again, Uruguay in 3rd place, and the USA in 4th. And as you can see on screen, we are now starting to accumulate some really interesting patterns across the simulations. England have been runners-up in both simulations played so far. Norway have been the dark horse in both simulations, going deep in the competition each time. Both Golden Boot winners finished with 7 goals, and the USA have been a consistent force, finishing 3rd in Simulation 1 and 4th in Simulation 2. These are the patterns we are watching very closely as we build toward the real World Cup on June 11th. Now let's see what Simulation 3 brings. Will we get a new champion? Will we see a repeat winner? And will these patterns continue to hold? All the group stage fixtures are loaded up on Football Manager 2026 and we are ready to go. Simulation 3. Here we go. First results in. Mexico defeating South Africa 2-1 and Czech Republic defeating South Korea 1-0. 2 Group A results to get us started and already some different scorelines compared to the previous simulations. Moving on to the following day, and the host nations are yet to play. The USA playing out a 1-1 draw with Paraguay and Canada, also drawing 1-1 with Bosnia. A couple of cautious starts from the North American hosts. No blowouts just yet, and plenty still to play for in those groups. Brazil defeating Morocco 2-0, a comfortable and expected result from one of the tournament favourites. Switzerland defeating Qatar 2-0. Scotland just shading Haiti 3-2 in a really tight match. And Australia playing out a very exciting 3-3 draw with Turkey. Lots of goals and lots of goal scorers in that one. Into the 14th of June now. Germany defeating Curacao 4-1. Ivory Coast defeating Ecuador 1-0, which is another tricky result for Ecuador, who have been inconsistent across all 3 simulations so far. Japan defeating the Netherlands 2-1, and this is now becoming a pattern in itself. Japan have beaten the Netherlands in multiple simulations now, and the Dutch simply cannot seem to handle them. Sweden defeating Tunisia 3-2 in another entertaining match. Moving on to the next day's results. Belgium picking up their first win of the tournament, defeating Egypt 3-0. A complete reversal of the result from Simulation 1, where Egypt caused one of the early upsets. New Zealand defeating Iran 2-1. Spain defeating Cape Verde 4-1, with Lamine Yamal on the scoresheet alongside 4 different goal scorers. Spain looking sharp and dangerous from the very first game. And Uruguay comfortably defeating Saudi Arabia 2-0 as expected. Into the 17th of June, France defeating Senegal 2-0, a very professional performance from Les Bleus. Norway defeating Iraq 4-0, 4 different goal scorers for the Norwegians, who are once again looking lively early in the tournament. Argentina picking up a clean sheet 1-0 win against Algeria. And then the blowout of the tournament so far, Austria absolutely demolishing Jordan 7-0, 7 goals. Defender Kevin Danso grabbing a hat-trick in an extraordinary performance. Austria are making a real statement early in Simulation 3. Next match day, results coming through. Portugal defeating Congo 2-0. Uzbekistan drawing 2-2 with Colombia. Uzbekistan proving to be a difficult side to beat once again across the simulations. England defeating Croatia 2-1 in a massive opening game for the 3 Lions. And Ghana defeating Panama 2-0. Continuing on to the final Group A and B games of the next match day. Czech Republic defeating South Africa 3-0. South Korea defeating Mexico 2-0. Switzerland and Bosnia playing out a 0-0 draw, the first goalless match of the tournament. And Canada defeating Qatar 3-1. Next match day results now, and our first qualified nation of Simulation 3. Morocco and Scotland playing out a 1-1 draw. Brazil defeating Haiti 2-1 to qualify from the group stage with 2 wins from 2 games. After their shaky performances in the previous simulations, it is really good to see Brazil getting themselves through early here. USA defeating Australia 1-0. And Turkey defeating Paraguay 2-1. Brazil our first confirmed qualifier into the 20th of June. Ivory Coast pulling off a shock 2-1 win over Germany. And this is now becoming another recurring theme across the simulations. Germany simply cannot handle Ivory Coast. A shock 0-0 draw between Curacao and Ecuador. Ecuador continuing their inconsistent group stage form across all 3 simulations. Sweden defeating Netherlands 3-1 in a really impressive result. and Tunisia drawing 1-1 with Japan. Ivory Coast qualified from Group E, and Sweden qualified from Group F, both with 2 wins from 2 games. Moving on to the next matchday results, Belgium comfortably defeating Iran 3-0, New Zealand drawing 2-2 with Egypt, Spain drawing 1-1 with Saudi Arabia, a shock result for the defending Simulation 1 champions who will have expected far more from themselves against Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay comfortably beating Cape Verde 4-1. Sweden qualifying from Group F, Belgium qualifying from Group G, Uruguay qualifying from Group H. All 3 sides confirming their places in the knockout rounds with 2 wins from 2 games. Into the Group I and J matches now, and Argentina drawing 2-2 with Austria. Argentina looking a little shaky in the group stage once again, very similar to what we have seen from them in previous simulations. They have the quality to turn it around, but they will need to be much more convincing if they want to go deep in this tournament. France coming in and defeating Iraq 4-2, 4 different goal scorers for Les Bleus who are doing it in real style. The defending simulation champions look absolutely formidable in this version of the tournament. Senegal drawing 1-1 with Norway, and Algeria defeating Jordan 3-1. France confirming their qualification from Group 1 with 2 wins from 2 games. A dominant and convincing start from the champions of Simulation 2. Now England in action, and a shock result, England going down 1-0 to Ghana. A really surprising defeat for the 2-time runners-up, who have been scraping through results in this simulation rather than dominating as they did in the previous 2. Croatia defeating Panama 1-0, Colombia defeating Congo 2-0, and Portugal defeating Uzbekistan 3-1. Uzbekistan once again proving brave and difficult to beat before going down late. Portugal confirming their qualification from Group K with 2 wins from 2 games. Into the 25th of June and the Group A, B and C results. Czech Republic defeating Mexico 2-0 and South Korea drawing 3-3 with South Africa, meaning Czech Republic and South Korea confirm their qualification as the top 2 from Group A. Qatar going down 3-1 to Bosnia. And Canada defeating Switzerland 2-1 in a really significant result. Canada qualifying first from Group B and Bosnia second. Switzerland will need to hope for a 3rd place spot. Group C now. Brazil defeating Scotland 1-0, the 5-time world champions continuing their impressive and much more convincing campaign compared to the previous simulations. Morocco defeating Haiti 2-1. Scotland grabbing that 2nd qualification spot from Group C. Brazil through as group winners and looking increasingly dangerous. Into the Group D, E and F matchday now. Turkey absolutely demolishing the USA 4-1 to qualify top of Group D. A massive and shocking result for the Americans who have been so strong in the previous 2 simulations. Australia drawing 2-2 with Paraguay, meaning the USA grabbed the 2nd qualification spot in Group D despite that heavy defeat. Germany defeating Ecuador 2-0. Ivory Coast drawing 2-2 with Curaçao, with Ivory Coast and Germany qualifying from Group E, and Japan drawing with Sweden while Tunisia lose 2-1 to the Netherlands, seeing Sweden and Japan qualify from Group F. Now the big Group G, H and I matchday results. And what a set of results these are. New Zealand pulling off a massive 1-0 win over Belgium. A shock result for a nation that rarely gets results against established European sides. Iran and Egypt playing out a thrilling 3-3 draw, Cape Verde defeating Saudi Arabia 4-1 in one of the upsets of the group stage. The tiny island nation pulling off a brilliant result. Spain absolutely proving their class with a dominant 3-0 win over a very tough Uruguay side. And France doing exactly the same, defeating dark horse Norway 4-0. France are looking absolutely formidable in this version of the simulation. 4-0 over Norway is a real statement of intent from the defending champions, and Senegal defeating Iraq 2-1. Group G qualifiers, New Zealand remarkably qualifying first and Belgium second. Group H, Spain and Uruguay both through as expected. Group E, France and Norway qualifying, Norway continuing their pattern of making it through the group stage as one of the more dangerous outsider nations. Now the Group J, K and L results to confirm the final qualification spots. Portugal absolutely sweeping Colombia aside 3-0, just like Spain and France before them, delivering a dominant and convincing statement performance. Austria defeating Algeria 2-0. Argentina comfortably dispatching Jordan 3-0, putting their shaky earlier results behind them and finishing the group stage strongly. Croatia defeating Ghana in a hard-fought and exciting 4-2 match, and England just seeing off Panama 3-2, scraping through in what should have been a much more comfortable result. England finishing in third place in Group L with Croatia and Ghana qualifying first and second. A really underwhelming group stage from the two-time runners-up, who have been far from convincing throughout. Portugal and Colombia qualifying 1 and 2 from Group K. Austria and Argentina the same from Group J. Now the third place qualifiers rounding out the second round lineup. Algeria through, Congo through, England through in third place. Senegal qualifying third from that incredibly tough Group 1 alongside France and Norway. Switzerland through, Morocco through. And Cape Verde, what a story, the tiny island nation qualifying from Group H in third place. So we say farewell to Ecuador, Tunisia, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and the brave Uzbekistan, who once again pushed the bigger nations all the way before going home. The second round knockout stage is now confirmed, and what a lineup it is shaping up to be. Let's see who emerges from what is already proving to be one of the most unpredictable and fascinating simulations of the series so far. The second round knockout teams are confirmed, and what a set of matchups we have in store. Brazil versus Japan is an absolutely mouth-watering tie. Japan have beaten the Netherlands in this simulation and are proving to be one of the most dangerous sides in the tournament. Brazil will need to be at their very best to get through that one. France versus Morocco. The defending simulation champions taking on one of the most resilient and organised sides in the competition. Morocco always make life difficult for the bigger nations, and this will be no easy task for Les Bleus. Germany versus Norway. Norway continuing their pattern of emerging as one of the most dangerous dark horse sides across every simulation. Germany will need a much better performance than we have seen from them in the group stage. Senegal versus Turkey should be a fascinating and entertaining match between two nations capable of playing some really exciting football. And we have a couple of brilliant new nations emerging in this simulation. Cape Verde taking on New Zealand in what would be one of the most unlikely second-round knockout matchups you could imagine. Two smaller nations who have punched enormously above their weight to get here and deserve every bit of credit for making it this far. Ghana versus Colombia, Argentina versus Spain, and that is basically a World Cup final right there in the second round. Two of the greatest footballing nations in the world going head-to-head with a place in the round of 16 on the line. Extraordinary. Uruguay versus Austria promises to be a tough and tightly contested match. And then the other massive game of this round, England versus Portugal. Two of Europe's heavyweights, both with serious ambitions, colliding in the second round. That is a huge fixture with enormous consequences for both nations, and once again we are seeing some familiar faces pushing through. USA and Norway both progressing to the knockout stage, continuing the pattern we have noted across both previous simulations. These two nations simply keep finding ways to go deep in this tournament, and we will be watching them very closely. Now let's check the group stage stats before we head into the knockouts and see what the players have been doing throughout the group stage. Leading the player of the match standings is Kaan Ayhan of Turkey with 3 awards from 3 games. A really impressive early showing from the Turkish midfielder who is emerging as an early contender for the tournament MVP award. The highest average rating belongs to who else but Kylian Mbappe with an extraordinary 9.13. That is probably the highest average rating we have seen across any of our 3 simulations so far, and is a reflection of just how dominant the French captain has been in the group stage. In the Golden Boot race, Kylian Mbappe leads with 6 goals in just 3 appearances. An absolutely lethal and clinical return from the French superstar who looks genuinely unstoppable in this simulation. Leading the assist chart is Florian Wirtz with 4 assists, the German playmaker quietly pulling the strings in the background despite Germany's inconsistent group stage results. And for the goalkeepers, Antonin Kinski of the Czech Republic leads the clean sheet standings. A really impressive tournament so far for the young goalkeeper who has been one of the standout performers of the group stage. The knockout rounds are about to begin, and this simulation is already producing some fascinating storylines. Mbappe looking absolutely unstoppable. Turkey emerging as a potential dark horse. Cape Verde and New Zealand defying every expectation. And the mouth-watering prospect of Argentina versus Spain in the second round. Let's see what the knockout stage brings. Into the knockout rounds now, and the results are coming through thick and fast. Bosnia defeating South Korea 2-0. a comfortable and convincing win for the Bosnians, who are quietly making their presence felt in this simulation. Brazil defeating Japan 3-0, an absolutely dominant performance from the five-time world champions, who are looking a completely different proposition in Simulation 3 compared to the previous two. It has taken 3 simulations for Brazil to really kick into gear on Football Manager, and it will be fascinating to see how far they can go this time. Switzerland defeating Ivory Coast 2-1, the Swiss once again doing exactly what they always do in major tournaments. More knockout results now. Germany knocking out Norway 4-1. After 2 consecutive simulations as the dark horse of the tournament, Norway are finally going home before the Final Four, and Germany are delivering a real statement performance to send them packing. And then a massive shock, France drawing with Morocco and scraping through on penalties by the absolute skin of their teeth. The defending simulation champions nearly going home in the second round. Morocco pushing France all the way and only just losing on penalties in what must have been an absolutely nerve-shredding match. Netherlands defeating Czech Republic 3-2 in another entertaining and closely fought tie. Into the 2nd of July now. Croatia knocking out Congo 6-3 in one of the most extraordinary and entertaining matches of the entire simulation. 6 goals for Croatia, with 6 different goal scorers, Football Manager spreading the goals around beautifully in that one. Cape Verde defeating New Zealand 2-0 in the Battle of the Minnows, the tiny island nation continuing their extraordinary run and advancing to the round of 16. What an achievement for Cape Verde. Senegal edging out Turkey 3-2 in a really tough and competitive match. And now the blockbuster everyone has been waiting for, Argentina versus Spain. One of the greatest rivalries in world football. The defending Simulation 1 champions against one of the tournament favourites. One of these nations is going home. And Spain have done it again. A clinical 2-0 win over Argentina. Spain showing their absolute class and sending Argentina home once more. Football Manager clearly does not fancy Argentina's chances in this real-life tournament as they continue to exit early across every simulation. Colombia defeating Ghana 2-1. And Canada dispatching Algeria 4-0 with 4 different goal scorers, the goals being shared beautifully around a very balanced Canadian side. The final second round knockout results now. Uruguay defeating Austria 3-1 in a tough and physical matchup. Belgium edging out the USA 1-0 after extra time, meaning the Americans will not be reaching the Final Four in this simulation. After finishing 3rd in Simulation 1 and 4th in Simulation 2, the USA's consistent run in this series comes to an end here in the second round. And then a blockbuster. Portugal defeating England 3-2 after extra time. England are out. The 2-time consecutive runners-up eliminated in the second round by Portugal. That incredible England run of back-to-back finals is over in Simulation 3, and Portugal have done the job in dramatic fashion. So the round of 16 lineup is confirmed. Switzerland versus France, Brazil versus Germany, an absolutely enormous fixture. Netherlands versus Croatia, Spain versus Colombia, Cape Verde versus Senegal, Uruguay versus Belgium, and Canada versus Portugal. Some fascinating matchups, and you would have to think France, Spain, and Portugal are the favourites to advance from their respective ties. But as this simulation has shown us already, nothing is guaranteed, and upsets are always just around the corner. Round of 16 results coming through now. France putting away Switzerland 1-0, another clean sheet for the defending champions, and Kylian Mbappe with the crucial goal. Clinical, efficient, and exactly what you would expect from a great side in the knockout rounds. And Scotland defeating Bosnia 3-0. Scotland. There they are again. I had not been paying close enough attention to the Scots in this simulation, but they absolutely have my attention now. 3 different goal scorers and a completely dominant performance. Scotland are proving once again that they are one of the most dangerous and unpredictable sides in these simulations, and they are marching on through. Brazil versus Germany now, and Germany winning 2-0. Brazil are out once again, 3 simulations, and Brazil have yet to make the Final Four. For a nation of their stature and history, that is a remarkable and repeated failure across this series. Germany are through and showing real improvement as the tournament has progressed. Netherlands defeating Croatia 1-0 after extra time, a tight and tense affair decided by a single moment of quality. Spain and Colombia playing out a thrilling 2-2 draw before Spain advance on penalties. The Spanish continuing to find ways through even when they are not at their absolute best. Senegal defeating Cape Verde 3-1 as expected, but enormous credit to Cape Verde for everything they have achieved in this simulation. A nation that nobody gave any chance of getting out of the group stage reaching the round of 16 is an extraordinary achievement. Belgium defeating Uruguay 4-3 in an absolute thriller. What a match that sounds like. Belgium finally delivering on their potential in this simulation, and Uruguay going home after a really impressive tournament run, and Portugal defeating Canada 3-2, all the host nations now eliminated. Canada, USA and Mexico all going home before the quarterfinals. Our quarterfinal lineup is now confirmed. France versus Scotland, Spain versus Senegal, Germany versus Netherlands, and Belgium versus Portugal. You would expect France to Spain and Portugal to come through from those matchups, but as we have learned across 3 simulations, the expected result does not always happen. France versus Scotland first, and what a match this turns out to be. France winning 3-1 after extra time in one of the most dramatic and entertaining quarterfinal matches you could hope for. No goals until the 97th minute when Kylian Mbappe finally broke Scottish hearts to put France ahead. Scott McTominay then equalising with one of the most memorable goals of the tournament to send it deeper into extra time before France pulled away, with Mbappe grabbing his second goal to seal the win. Scotland can be incredibly proud. They pushed the tournament favourites all the way and only went home in extra time. An absolutely brilliant run from the Scots across 3 simulations now. Spain defeating Senegal 2-1, both goals coming from the electric Nico Williams, who is becoming one of the most exciting and consistent performers across this simulation series. Germany defeating Netherlands 2-0 after extra time in what was exactly the fierce and entertaining contest everyone predicted. Pascal Gross and Kevin Schade getting the crucial goals for Germany. And Portugal defeating Belgium 1-0 with a clean sheet win, Rafael Leao scoring the clinical goal to end Belgium's impressive run. Our semi-final lineup is confirmed. France versus Spain, Germany versus Portugal. What an absolutely extraordinary set of semi-final matchups. 4 of Europe's greatest footballing nations going head-to-head for a place in the World Cup final. First up, France versus Spain on the 14th of July. And the result is one for the history books, France defeating Spain 5-0. A complete and utter whitewash. A 5-0 demolition of the defending Simulation 1 champions who had absolutely no answer for France on the day. 5 different goal scorers with Ousmane Dembele getting things started in the first minute and Kylian Mbappe wrapping it up in the 82nd minute. Spain were simply swept aside and France are into the World Cup final. Could we be about to see back-to-back Simulation World Cup wins for the French? Now Germany versus Portugal in the second semi-final. And Football Manager has served up another extraordinary result. Germany winning 8-1. 8 goals, an absolutely stunning performance. Joshua Kimmich opening the scoring with a penalty in the 5th minute before Kai Havertz putting on one of the great individual performances in this simulation series, grabbing 4 goals in the 21st, 25th, 43rd and 81st minutes. Rafael Leao getting Portugal's only consolation in the 44th minute. Germany are into the World Cup final and Portugal are going home after what had been a really impressive tournament run. So the final is France versus Germany. And the 3rd place playoff will see Spain take on Portugal. Spain claiming 3rd place with a tight and entertaining 3-2 win over Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo getting on the score sheet in the very first minute for Portugal, but a Dani Olmo double getting Spain over the line in a really exciting 3rd place match, Spain finishing 3rd, Portugal 4th. And now the moment we have all been waiting for, the World Cup final, France versus Germany. And France have done it. France are World Cup champions for the 2nd consecutive simulation, winning 3-1 against Germany in a brilliant final. And the story of the final is Ousmane Dembele grabbing a stunning hat-trick in the 64th, 75th and 83rd minutes to seal the trophy for France. Florian Wirtz getting Germany's only goal in the 22nd minute to briefly give the neutrals hope, but France was simply too good on the day. Didier Deschamps once again praised by the French supporters as France lift the FIFA World Cup trophy. 2 Simulation World Cup wins in a row for France. Back-to-back champions in Simulation 2 and Simulation 3. And Ousmane Dembele stealing the show with a hat-trick in the World Cup final which has to be one of the great individual performances across this entire simulation series. Now let's look at the final tournament stats to wrap up Simulation 3 and see what the accumulated picture is starting to look like across all three simulations. The most red cards in the tournament going to Amar Dedic of Bosnia, a notable footnote in an otherwise brilliant tournament for the Bosnians. The Player of the Match MVP award going convincingly to Mbappe with 5 awards from 8 appearances. An absolutely dominant individual tournament from the French captain, who has been the standout player of this entire simulation from the very first group game. Yildiz of Turkey coming in second with 3 awards from 4 appearances. The highest average rating also going to Mbappe with an extraordinary 8.9 across the tournament. The highest average rating we have seen from any individual player across all 3 simulations. And the Golden Boot going to Mbappe with 10 goals in 8 appearances. Absolutely smashing the record of 7 goals that was the Golden Boot number in both Simulation 1 and Simulation 2. Mbappe delivering an historic individual tournament. Kai Havertz also finishing with 8 goals in 8 appearances. Another remarkable return from the German striker, who saved his best for the knockout rounds. For assists, a new series high from Florian Wirtz with 6 assists, matching Bukayo Saka's 6 from Simulation 2. Sidney Lopez Cabral of Cape Verde also finishing with 5 assists in what has been one of the great individual performances from a player representing a smaller nation. And Kylian Mbappe also finishing with 5 assists to go alongside his 10 goals. A truly complete and extraordinary individual tournament from the French captain. The Golden Glove going to Mike Maignan with 4 clean sheets. Maignan claimed this award in Simulation 1 as well, making him the first player to win the Golden Glove in multiple simulations. A really interesting recurring pattern emerging for the French goalkeeper. And that is Simulation 3 officially wrapped up. France are back-to-back World Cup champions in Simulations 2 and 3. The patterns are continuing to form, and the accumulated stats across 3 simulations are starting to tell a really fascinating story. We will show you exactly how that accumulated picture looks now with 3 simulations in the books when we see you in Simulation 4.